premiere scene. I'm Claire Bueno as we go in search for Simon at the UK premiere.
It's a funny story, is that we made another film called Death, which is now called After Death, and we spent so long in post-production that I was desperate to get back on set again, so I had to think of an idea that I could make very inexpensively, because I didn't want to start the whole process of raising money. I just wanted to get back into making films. So I'd had this idea for ages and ages and ages about a guy who's lost his brother and he's searching for his brother, and I won't spoil the film, spoiler alert, and I tried to get some friends involved to write it. All these guys on Facebook who were saying they were fed up and there wasn't any work, and they all said no, they didn't want to help. And I thought, oh, okay, fair enough. But then I remembered another friend of mine, Simon, so I wrote to him and he said, yeah, let's do it. And we wrote the script in 4 weeks, very, very fast. So it was born out of the frustration of not making films and the love of making films that we effectively... my original pitch was we've made a film by accident, you see, because we just sort of did it. And there wasn't any money, and we just did a bit more, and then I earned some more money doing something else, and then we do a bit more, and all of a sudden we had a feature film.
Was it difficult juggling all these roles and being able to concentrate on?
It was really, really hard. I mean, I loved doing it, and it was wonderful. But there some days I was producing, directing, and cameraman and acting, which it's just too much. And I hope it doesn't show on camera. But obviously, the most important thing was to play the character as well as I possibly could. And I'd self-directed myself. I gave myself 3 notes, and every time I got into character, I said note 1, note 2, note 3 to myself, and then I played that character, having sort of self-directed myself from the beginning. And hopefully, it works.
Your involvement, first and foremost, was as a writer.
Yes, that's right. He contacted me last August, I think, and I was just about to jet off on holiday, and he said, can you do some writing for me? I said, yes. And so, yes, I was actually on the plane going to Rome, reading his sort of blurb for what he wanted, and then writing it desperately on my little iPhone, and then sending it back to him, so it was quite weird. But he seemed to like it, which was very nice, and it went from there. So.
And when it comes to being on camera, you play his friend, actually, don't you, and confidant?
Yeah, very kindly. He said, would I like to have a part in it, so I was very happy about that. But yes, so it was good. It was a nice, fun part as well. It was nice. It was nice to be involved in that side, and it's quite crazy going on a Martin shoot, but it's good fun. So and you get to go to a lot of places and do a lot of things, and like riding the tank. I'm sure he's mentioned about the tanks.
So. No, he didn't. Tell me more about that.
Well, we had a very fun day. I think it was in February, back end of February. Went to over near Bristol Way or somewhere on a Sherman tank, and it was very cold. And because the tank was obviously a big lump of metal, and it sucked all the warmth out of you, so we were sitting there all day. So I think he hasn't got a lot of our talk from there, because I think we were all chattering a bit too much. So I think he's done a lot of ADR on a lot of the stuff there. But it was interesting. I've never been on a tank before, so that was good.
Kenny Frankland up in Manchester, and we did it all by the internet. So I'd send him the shots on You Send It or something like that, and then he'd do them and send them back again.
Also edited the film yourself, so was it difficult to... Who did you use as like objectivity, really?
I used one friend who came in at the end, who was very harsh, and he said, that's good, that bit's shit, that bit's good. And I just listened to him, and every bit he said he didn't like, I thought, should I keep it, should I cut it? And the very first cut of the film was 2 hours and 35 minutes. So I cut a whole hour out of the film, which was hard, because I'd hired the actors and paid for the food and the locations, and then you're cutting it and throwing it on the floor. So the money you spent on those bits, you are throwing it away. And that was very hard. But it's a better film. No one ever comes out of the cinema and says your film's too short.
You're playing Irene, David's mother. Now, when I see her, I just feel there's this like sense of apathy really with her. Is that something that you saw in her?
Well, yes. I mean, as you say, you've seen the film, so you'll know that this is a character which I've never played before. It's not your usual glamour girl comedy role that people, think of me as. And yes, I was so overjoyed when I was asked to do this, because I thought, finally, a woman with depth and character, and I could show emotion and do the things that I've had very little opportunity to do on film. And I suffered from my art, as you probably noticed. Our director, producer said, well, we'll get a makeup person in for you. I said, no. I said, this woman is an alcoholic. She stays home every day and watches television. She doesn't even go out. She's not going to wear makeup. So, sans makeup, pull my hair back, let the grey come through, and several of my friends, my girlfriends, said, Carol, you're very brave. You were very brave to do this. But I loved it. I mean, she's an alcoholic, she's depressed, she's unhappy, she's, not a happy character, and they're always the more enjoyable roles to play, really.
The interesting thing is that because of the loss that this family's endured and not talked about, what your particular scenes come with David's character is this breakdown of the family unit, really.
Yes, I mean, unfortunately, well, like obviously in films, bits get cut, you can't cram everything in. And there was one scene near the end there which was much longer, and I describe actually much more of the history of my husband leaving and his death and things that you don't get in the film now. So one had to sort of cram a lot in to try and get a lot across without that dialogue. But yeah, she's had a rough time, and I think, the lovely thing about this role is that, well, she's really the only dead serious role in the film. She's the only one. I mean, everybody else, we've got this lovely sort of humor, this crazy sort of dark humor here and there, and then she's dead straight. I mean, and she's the one that knows the truth, the only one that knows what happened, and very important role.
I was presented with the script about 2 hours before I was asked to shoot the script, so which is very much the way Martin Gooch likes to work, and I'm fine with that, because I think most actors have attention deficit like me, and we're quite easily distracted, and actually Martin compacts everything into a very quick process, so it's all very quick and very exciting and good fun.
And with regards to the character that you're playing, what was it about him that you connected to?
Well, Simon, it's only one very brief scene, so it's quite enigmatic, and I am quite enigmatic, and I felt like I could bring something of the foolish optimist to Simon, which I think he is. He just seems to arrive, smile a lot, and then leave, which is something I'll be doing in this room. In about 4 seconds' time, I'm leaving. That's what I do, all the time.
What's interesting is I think it does leave a glimmer of hope, doesn't it, at the end for audiences? It kind of gives a great twist at the end.
Yeah, I think all sci-fi always does that. All sci-fi likes to leave the viewer thinking there's more to it. If you wrap everything up and put a bow on it, then there's something a bit disappointing about that. It's like at the end of The Sopranos, which isn't sci-fi, obviously, but when they have that great moment where you don't know if Tony Soprano is dead or alive, and leave it for people on forums. Hand it over to the forums.
And working with Martin, what was it like? He's obviously the producer, the director, the writer. How does that help you as an actor?
He's a very multi-talented man, Martin Gooch. He's very average at a lot of things, so he brings that to the table. He is very. It's just very instinctive, and it's very, like I said, quick is a word that springs to mind. Really quick, which is
that's indie filmmaking.
Because then you just do. It's just all on instincts, and you just kind of do it, and you go, "Oh, is that it? Did I not get to do my monologue? Oh, okay." And I love that. It's fun. It was. It felt really lo-fi, but very. I want to say real, but that makes me sound like an idiot. But it just felt like we all immersed ourselves into it for like 2 hours, and then that was it.
You play a young David, don't you?
Yeah, I do, in the film.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, it's a very interesting role in the film because I'm the main character as a child.
Was it a lot of fun working? Because you were in the woods there, weren't you?
Yeah, it was very cold.
Was it?
Yeah.
Do you remember where you were shooting?
We were shooting in a woods and it was freezing. The snow was still on the ground. And I can't remember the exact location, but it was in a woods.
And can you if you've got one lasting memory of working on the film, what was it?
Very cold.
What did you think of the script when you first read it?
Well, it's Martin, isn't it? I always think it's mad. I mean, anything Martin does is generally bonkers, but brilliant at the same time. The guy is a sort of Doctor Who sci-fi mad genius, who I love dearly and is a very good friend of mine.
And so you're part of this group that they don't really tolerate him, do they?
No.
The character of Dave.
My character it takes short shift of most people. He's a complete awful, really, character. Actually, the funny thing was, me and Martin talked about this, and in Death, which is called After Death in the America, I play the nice Colin. So he's kind of the flip of the other film. So in the other film, there's this really nice sort of hapless fool who trips over the Tesco's bags, and in this one, there's this rather evil, well, actually pretty cold-hearted, shitty, doesn't suffer fools at all, although he's a fool himself.
How did you kind of prepare for that?
Oh, I just do it. I don't know, it's a sort of gut reaction. I'd sort of work with it and drag up a few demons and put them to the test, and yeah.
And is this kind of like, well, I'm getting the impression it's very sort of flying on the seat of your pants filmmaking. Is that exciting for you?
That's a good way of being. I mean, I think, preparation, everyone says, preparation is great, and to a certain extent preparation is great, but if you're completely prepared, then you're slightly wooden, I feel. If you sort of you sort of know, but you kind of don't know, then you're in that sort of magical world where anything can happen. And then there's a realm of improvisation which can help with a film script and any film script.
Working with Martin was awesome, actually. He's very sort of, he would give us like a call maybe a couple of days before and say, scene 15, I found a spot, do you want to film on Saturday? We're like, yeah, okay, let's do it. So sometimes it was like by the seat of your pants. But I got to do such amazing things that I've never ever dreamed I would do, like drive a tank and just fantastic things that he's allowed me to sort of play around with the character, develop it all by myself. Of course he gave direction, etc., but just a fantastic character he's sort of written for me, which is amazing.
Allows you to expand yourself as an actor, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So I went off obviously and researched the character by going to therapy sessions myself to see what a patient would be like, or also how they talk to a patient, because when I spoke to therapists themselves, they weren't completely themselves in the room. They were trying to pretend to be something else to help me, but so I went on the other side as a patient and got the vibe that sort of so tell me about your life, sort of that the way they talk down to you a little bit patronizing. Just a wonderful way of researching the character that Martin actually allowed me to do. So yeah, it was really cool.
Well, tell us how you got involved with Search for Simon.
Well, I know Martin from, funny enough, I know Martin from drama school. And then I was very lucky. He gave me a big part in his last feature, Death, as well, now called After Death for release. But yeah, that was great fun. And off the back of that, I heard he was doing Search for Simon. I said, mate, you got any parts going? He went, well, yeah, it was one. And so we had a little bit of a debate about it, and he's been shooting me for a lot, so I decided to shoot him back in that. So that's what I do at the beginning of the film, which is good fun.
Was there anything particularly about the character that you thought would be a lot of fun to play out?
Yeah, it's quite fun to do the sort of the geeky, World War II reenactor that gets it wrong a bit because he's so involved with his world. It was good fun to muck around with.
I was going to say, because it is actually a comic and comedic scene, I would have thought it's quite liberating for you guys just to sort of go with the moment and see what comes from it comedically.
Yeah, it was just good to go and have a muck around for a bit, really.
And did you enjoy working with Martin as the director again? How had he evolved actually since the last time?
Yeah, well, it's always good fun working with Martin, but I think The Search for Simon was a much smaller scale project than Death, so he was very much, he was doing a lot more involved with it. He was very hands-on with absolutely everything. Instead of departmentalising his crew, it'll be him very much micromanaging, so it was great fun to watch him do that. And he was really in his element, I think, as well.
Movie. It's great. It'll make you laugh and it'll make you cry.